You locked your family members out of the house? Is this one of those stupid pranks? Like, I cannot stand pranks these days. They go way too far. And I've said this so much, y'all know that riles me up. So I'm prepared to get really mad about this. Happy Apple Picking Day! Just as our usual reminder, if you want a chance for your story to be featured on Am I the Bad Apple, you can send it to my subreddit, r/AmITheBadApple. And another one of our usual reminders, we all come from different branches of the apple tree, meaning we all have different experiences in life. And those experiences shape our perspectives and our opinions. So we might not all agree with each other in the comments while we watch this video and share what we're thinking, and that's okay. Sometimes you can just agree to disagree. Sometimes someone can teach you something you didn't know. Sometimes you can teach someone else something. None of them are wrong answers. So without further ado, let's get started with this week's episode of Am I the Bad Apple? Let's go apple picking! Apple number 1. Am I the bad apple for punishing someone else's kids? I, 19 female, am the child of divorced parents. I live with my single mother 75% of the time and have constant visitation with my father and his remarried family. I have 2 half-siblings, 6 female who we'll call S and 4 male who we'll call C. My siblings, aka my stepmother and father's children, are both miracle children. My sister was conceived after almost 7 years of IVF. And because of that, my stepmother, who we'll call R, cherishes my sister like a goddess. It was such a difficult process. For a while, they really thought that would be their only child together. A few years later, they had my brother, a second miracle child, which surprised everyone because the doctor told my stepmom that there would be a slim chance of that ever happening. And yay for my dad, because now he has the son that he always wanted. So fast forward to today, now that I'm working and doing at-home college classes, I go to their house even less than I did before. I go for about 3 days every 2 to 3 weeks. When I can't make it for a weekend, I try to take time out of my day to FaceTime my siblings for an hour, just, to keep that relationship. When I do go over there, I try really hard to make sure I play with my siblings. I will admit, it does get to be a lot, especially since I'm 19 and I'm way out of my toy phase, and my little sister just always wants to play Barbie. So about a month ago, my stepmom walked toward the front door, turned to me, who was playing with my little sister with Barbies, and told me that my brother was napping on the couch and that my dad was doing yard work. She instructed me to make everyone's lunch because she was going to be out for a few hours, to make sure that my dad stayed hydrated, and to make sure to wake up my brother in 30 minutes. Then she walked out the door and shut it behind her. I sighed and told my little sister that I'd be right back. I got to the kitchen, got my dad a little energy drink that he liked, took it out to him through the deck in the living room, then went back to playing with my little sister, kept an eye on the clock, and made sure to wake up my brother like clockwork, exactly when my stepmom said that I needed to. Once he was awake, I turned on a little show for my siblings to watch while I made lunch for everybody. Took my dad his lunch outside to him while he was working, and then sat with my siblings and finally ate myself at the table. By the time we were all done eating, my dad finished his yard work and went upstairs to shower and change. My siblings started fighting over a toy, and the fight ended with my sister hitting my brother. Of course, I scolded her and put her in timeout because violence is not okay. I had her sit in a different timeout spot than the normal timeout spot because that spot's right by the door, and I figured my stepmom would be home soon and I didn't want her in the way or getting hit with the front door. Seemed like perfect logic to me. Their household's rules of timeout is that they must remain calm for 5 minutes before they can move. The longer they cry and complain, the longer they sit there. Since my sister was screaming at me saying that I wasn't her mom and I couldn't do that to her, she sat there for a total of 23 minutes before my stepmom returned. When she walked into the house to see her precious daughter sitting in timeout, she started yelling at me, saying that I couldn't punish her daughter and that I wasn't her daughter's mom. I responded by telling her the situation and why she was in timeout, but nothing I said got through to her, and she just continued yelling at me. You know what? I snapped. I then yelled at her that I was the one that she put in charge. I continued saying that a punishment was needed, and that if I had waited for my dad to come down like she insisted I should have done, S probably would have hit our brother again. I ended the rant by saying, "You left me alone with your children for hours without any prior notice and just expected me to parent them. So I did. I parented them. Maybe next time you shouldn't walk out on your own kids and just be a mother to them instead of handing them off to your stepdaughter who can't get a break. I'm only here a couple days a month and you want me to spend that time babysitting? I was so tired of it, I ran up the stairs and shut myself in my room. My dad followed me in a few minutes later saying that he was folding laundry and heard everything. He sat down on the bed next to me and told me that he understood why I was angry, but that my stepmom was right. I wasn't their mom, and I should have gotten my dad to handle the situation. I understand that they're right in that regard. I'm not their mother, but I was put in charge. I feel like I was justified to punish my sister for hitting someone. It's not like I'm 13 trying to be the disciplinaire. I'm 19. I'm an adult. At least adult enough to watch them all day. So I just need to know, was I the bad apple? This is one of those situations where those of you who have kids of your own might disagree with me. And maybe my opinion is the way that it is because I don't have children. That's very possible. And if you think so, then just let me know. You might not change my mind. I still might hold my opinion. But perspective is everything. Experience is everything. So I personally think it's really weird when other people are in charge of children at the time and parents are like, oh no, if they do something wrong, you cannot discipline them. Well then, I don't want to watch your child. If I'm in charge and they're breaking rules and they're hitting people or whatever it is that they're doing, and I'm not allowed to put them in timeout, I don't want to watch them. Why would I ever put myself in a situation where your kid is allowed to roam free, do whatever they want with no consequences? No. And I totally get the dad was there. She had the option to get the dad. But was the dad there? He was literally upstairs listening to the argument and didn't do anything. And I don't know how long he was in the shower for, but more than likely, he was out of the shower and also listening to either the young children fighting and hitting each other or the young daughter in timeout screaming about, you're not my mom, blah, 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 for 23 minutes. You're telling me he wasn't concerned about maybe I should go see what's going on, let me see why people are yelling, what? That to me is such a red flag, such a problem. Oh yeah, I heard you yelling with your sister and I heard you trying to put her in timeout and I heard you yelling with my wife, but I decided not to present myself until after the conflict finished. But yeah, you totally should have come to get me for conflict resolution. What do you mean? What? That makes no sense to me. None. Can you imagine if kids in school were hitting people and teachers were okay, suspension, detention, whatever it is, and a parent was you can't do that. I mean, they do that. They do try to say that. But we understand it's ridiculous. So no, I even know people in real life who their kids will be out and about with a group of other kids and their kids will hit or scream or do things that they shouldn't be doing that they are old enough to know not to do. And if another adult is hey, Jimmy, we shouldn't do that, they will flip out. Don't discipline my child. Well, okay, then you discipline your child. What? I don't get it. And I understand that there are lines, there are boundaries. If I was at a park with a bunch of people and someone had a kid and their kid was doing some things they probably shouldn't be doing, unless that was directly impacting me, no, I wouldn't say anything because it's not my business, it's not my child. But if their child is hitting another kid, I would probably say, hey, let's not do that. If their parent wasn't getting involved and the dad wasn't getting involved, the dad was just upstairs folding laundry. You're telling me he didn't hear any of that? I mean, he literally listened to at least the latter issue with the stepmom and the daughter and didn't come down. To me, the parents seem a little bit red flaggy. And I totally agree that when you're babysitting, and whether they're your siblings or not, if you're babysitting and the kids you're watching are hitting each other, then yeah, timeout is pretty reasonable. At least that's my opinion, okay? Parents, you can let me know if I'm way off base, but I personally don't think so. So, good apple for me. Apple number 2. Am I the bad apple for telling my sister to get over her daughter's race? What? What? Both me, 33 female, and my sister, 27 female, are Caucasian Latinas. The thing is, my sister has always been much more tan than me. A fact that, for whatever reason, she's been very proud of. For reference, my skin tone is closer to Aubrey Plaza's, while hers is closer to Gina Rodriguez's. When we were younger, she would constantly talk about how European I looked compared to her, how my hair was so much lighter, and how certain colors looked awful on me because I'm just so white. I almost never said anything because I was 6 years older and had better things to do. And also, while I did have insecurities like many girls do, I never doubted that I was beautiful. Fast forward to now, we both have kids. My husband is more tan than me, and both of our children, 8 male and 3 female, have the same skin tone as their father. My sister's ex, however, was a very pale Swiss guy. So my niece, 5 female, is a very fair-skinned girl with dark blonde hair, while my daughter is much more tan and has very dark hair. Everyone agrees that both girls are very beautiful, but for whatever reason, their skin tones have always bugged my sister. She insists that both girls are equally tan and that her daughter's hair is light brown and that my daughter just spends too much time in the sun. Last week, we all had dinner at my father's place, and my son brought his notebook and drew pictures of everyone at the table. He colored my daughter's skin a darker shade than my niece. Just for reference, he colored her orange and my niece pink. He also gave my niece yellow hair and colored my daughter's hair black. He was so proud of these drawings and wanted to show us to them, but my sister frowned. She then yelled at my 8-year-old son for exaggerating his cousin's features, that he should at least make her hair darker. When my niece said that she loved the drawing of her, my sister said,
No. It looks nothing like you. He's clearly drawing you like that on purpose.
Before the kids could get upset, I quickly pulled my sister aside and told her that she's being ridiculous. We ended up having a little fight in the next room, and near its end, I said something along the lines of, "Listen to me. Your daughter is white. We're all white. You need to accept that and stop comparing the girls if you don't want your daughter to become insecure about her skin." We left shortly afterwards, and none of the kids brought any of that stuff up again. My sister, though, is pissed at me. She told both of our parents who are divorced about the fight, and our father thinks that I shouldn't have commented on my niece's appearance at all and wants me to apologize to my sister. My mom says that this fight is dumb, but my sister is definitely overreacting. I agree this fight is dumb. I need to know how wrong I was before I go and apologize. So, was I the bad apple? This is another one where I'm clearly going to lack some experience, okay? I don't know if you guys can tell, but I'm pretty white. Okay? I know that's a shocker to everybody, right? But yes, I'm a white lady. So I clearly don't have the experience of being a part of a different race and like comparing myself in that way. So for those of you that do have that kind of experience, I would love to hear your thoughts about this, because I definitely don't want to be way off base. I don't want to be insensitive. I only have like my own experience and like my experience as a teacher seeing young girls, teenagers mostly compare themselves and have insecurities and things like that. But again, like I don't have this experience. So I'm definitely going to be looking to you guys for some help on this. But for me, my biggest concern is the fact that like clearly the sister, I think, has some insecurities in regards to her identity, I think, revolving around the shade of her skin. And like she's clearly very, very proud of her heritage. She's very proud of her identity, and I love that for her. But I'm very concerned that, kind of exactly what OP said, that I'm very concerned that she's going to make her daughter insecure about being lighter. You know, skin color is like the number one thing that we can't control. We're just kind of born with it. And all skin types are beautiful. But again, unchangeable. We can't do anything about it. And so my big concern is just the mom, like the sister, the mom of the lighter child, giving her daughter the idea or the mindset that she's not beautiful the way that she looks, that makes me sad. That makes me worried, you know. And I don't know if this is common. I don't know. But I'm having, like, just with my experience, I'm having a hard time not seeing OP as the good apple. Because again, I think that the OP, like the original poster, the aunt, is really just concerned about, first of all, you're yelling at an 8-year-old because he's drawing a picture and he's just drawing what he sees. Like, he doesn't understand the idea of being proud of your skin color and being proud to be darker. He doesn't get that. He doesn't understand that that's the mentality that she has. And that's okay, he's 8. He's not going to get it. I think that yelling at him, that he's doing something malicious, he's doing something on purpose, like that crosses a line. And I definitely think that OP has a right to stand up for her child in that regard when her sister is yelling at an 8-year-old boy for just drawing his cousin with the hair color that he sees. Because, like, let's be honest, like, he drew them orange and pink. Are they orange and pink? No. Those are the crayons he had available, and those are the colors that he associated with the closest to. Would you have cared if he made you blue? I just think that and then on the second hand, I think that the mom, like the sister, the one who's like the insecure one, I think she has some major beauty insecurities that she just hasn't been able to get over, and I think she projected them onto her sister for most of their lives. And now I'm just concerned that she's projecting them onto her daughter. And I don't think it's crazy or wrong for OP to bring that to her attention and let her know, hey, you need to, like, look at what you're doing. You're going to give your daughter some insecurities. I personally don't see anything wrong with that. And again, I don't have experience with this, so if there are any women of color who can tell me what I'm missing or explain it to me or to us, you know, I would love to hear your perspective. If I'm way off base, you let me know. That's just the opinion that I have based off of the experience that I have lived. So until you let me know otherwise, I am going to go good apple. Apple number 3. Am I the bad apple for refusing to babysit my nephew? I, 23 female, am fighting with my sister, 29 male, because I refuse to look after my nephew. I used to watch him in my free time to allow her breaks, especially while her husband was at work. She gets really overwhelmed since this is her first child, and I try to be a support system for her, but recently things have gone downhill. I don't ask for money since she's family, but I do ask for little favors like buying me Starbucks coffee or little treats along the way. The last time I watched him, she told me she'd be gone for 2 hours tops, but ended up being gone for like 3.5. When she came back, I didn't even get a thank you. She's been asking me more often to watch him, but the last time I did, I felt really disrespected by her. Fast forward to today, she asked me to watch him and she said she would pay me this time, but it's for 7 hours so that she can go to her friend's birthday party. I'm a full-time nanny for a toddler during the week, 11 hours a day, Monday through Friday, so I genuinely value my free time in the weekends. Plus, I'm in the middle of planning a wedding. So I told my sister, look, I love you both, and I can help you find a sitter through the company I work for, but I just can't watch him that day. She replied back that she was disappointed in me and shame on me and that she'll have to skip the party now. I mean, I understand why she wants me to watch him, but she puts so much pressure on me because she only feels comfortable with me watching him and won't let anyone else babysit. So if I can't do it, she can't leave the house. I mean, I get it, I guess, but I matter too, and my time matters too. So am I the bad apple for not looking after him? I'm gonna go with a hard no. Good apple all the way. Because listen, I understand the phrase, it takes a village. I understand being a support system for your friends and your family and like people who you love who have babies. I get that. I think it's so important to be that support system. But you already are that support system. And at the end of the day, you also have your own limits. And if you also need a break every now and then, you are entitled to that break because it's not your child. And if you feel like you are being pushed to the limits of your helpfulness, then I think that, you know, while I think it's great to be helpful and offer those breaks, and I think it's important, I also think it's important for you to be able to live your life as well. Because again, at the end of the day, you didn't have a baby, your sister did. And I think it's so great that you've been helping as much as you have, but you're right, your time does also matter. And if you're feeling like you are overwhelmed and you feel like your help is not appreciated, I absolutely think you're entitled to also enjoy your weekend. And I think that's something that should be acknowledged, okay? I do not understand how difficult it is to be a new mom because I've never been a mom, right? I got these little fur nuggets. Oh, I'm sorry I woke you up. I just wanted to touch you. You looked so fluffy. I'm so sorry. I have these fur nuggets and that's all I got. And they're perfect in every way and I love them more than my own life. But I don't have a human child. So I'm not going to understand that. But I can empathize in that I've seen my friends become moms and just kick ass with it, right? They are such good moms and I try to be helpful and help them out when I can. That doesn't necessarily mean that I can give all of my free time to them all the time. I also am a person who gets overwhelmed, who needs to relax. And luckily I'm not in a position where I ever have had to tell them no, but I definitely understand the need to still be your own person even while you're actively trying to help out your loved ones. I totally get that. I support that. Be that village, but also take care of yourself, right? And I think it's also important to remind people who are accepting the help that I get you're tired and I love that you have this support. Just, you know, don't take the support for granted. And sometimes those who love you and are trying to support you, even though you might think it's obvious how much you appreciate them, I think just be mindful, like, to make sure they know how much you appreciate them, if that makes sense. Yeah. Because it does take a village, and it takes, everyone working together, respecting each other, acknowledging each other's hard work and dedication and love. But at the end of the day, it is two people's babies alone. And so I don't think some extra acknowledgement of, hey, you didn't have to babysit for me today, but you did, and I really appreciate that, thank you. Or, hey, I said I was gonna be gone for 2 hours, but I was really gone for 3.5, and I'm so sorry about that. Thank you, I so appreciate that. It takes 5 seconds, right? I don't think that's the end of the world. Just to make sure the people who are helping you know how much is appreciated. So anyways, long story short, no, I don't think that you're the bad apple for just wanting to keep this weekend for yourself. The 7 hours is a long time. It is a long time. And while I or some other people might have chosen differently, I don't actually know what I would have done in that situation. I think it just kind of depends. For me, it would definitely depend on the day and how I was feeling. So I don't know for sure if I would have done the same thing or not, but that doesn't mean that I think that you're wrong for it. Even if I would have done it differently, I still don't think you're wrong for it. Apple number 4. Am I the bad apple for locking my family out of the house? My parents live in the in-law suite of my house. They pay rent to help me cover the mortgage, but the house is completely mine. Their rent is about $600 a month. That includes all utilities, including the internet, streaming services, all the things. My older sister is pregnant again. Yay! She now needs a place to stay as her baby daddy has bailed out and moved back out of the country without her. My parents agreed to let her stay with them, and they didn't ask me, but Like I said, they pay rent and they can do whatever they wish in their own living areas. My parents do have full access of my house, except for my bedroom and my office. My dad likes to putter in the garage and plays with my dogs. My mom likes to bake in my kitchen and work in the garden. The basement has their own kitchen, but it's smaller and she just prefers mine because it's better all around. Well, now they want me to baby-proof all levels of my house. I said, why would I need to do that? The kids aren't gonna be in my area. That's when my mom started saying, oh, but it wouldn't be fair to keep the kids cooped up in the basement all day. I said, what do you mean? There's a huge yard, a sunroom to spend time in if they really wanted. My sister chimed in saying that she couldn't spend all her time cramped up with 3 kids in that one area. I said, 3 kids? Are you having twins or something? Like, what do you mean 3 kids? Well, apparently, she was planning on watching her friend's toddler for money, running a little daycare in my basement as well. I said, I don't have insurance for you to run a little business out of my house. She said, oh, well, no, it's all under the table, and I really need the money. That, honestly, crossed the line for me. I said that I would be taking back the keys to my area of the house back from my parents, and I was gonna change the locks. I said that I agreed to let my parents live with me because it helps them out. They agreed to let her move in because she's irresponsible and can't figure out birth control. I never agreed to let her use my home as a day home. And I know that I don't want 3 kids here along with 4 adults. My mom's mad that I'm gonna lock them out of my area, but my dad understands. I honestly would let my dad keep a key, but I know that my mom would get it from him and she would give it to my sister who would let the kids run all around. I told him that I'd leave the garage locked the same for him and that was good enough for him, so we're good. My mom and sister, though, are so upset and are giving me the silent treatment. My mom got my dad to ask me that if they pay for the insurance, if my sister could then run her little daycare for her friends in the basement, and I agreed. But I did say that my sister should definitely pay for it. And I'm still locking them out of my part of the house. I don't think this is unreasonable or anything, but am I the bad apple here? I think that there's going to be some people with some very strong opinions about this, and we might not all agree, and that's okay. That's fine. We all have, I think it's important to remember that, like, when we say boundaries are important, everyone has different boundaries. Like, just because something is a boundary hard line for you does not mean that it's a boundary hard line for someone else. Someone else might be okay with it, and someone might even make their boundaries a little bit more strict than yours, and that's okay. This whole thing feels like a really bad idea. Like, I know me, and I know that I can be such a doormat, and so if this were me, I would be so concerned that if I said, hey, this is my boundary, I'm locked, you can all do this in the basement, whatever, but like you're being locked out of the house. I feel like over time, I would get completely walked all over. So my biggest piece of advice would be to just reconsider this entire arrangement. Maybe not even reconsider, but just think it over and evaluate, like, you know? And I say that knowing that I would be the one to get walked all over. I don't know if I would have the heart to kick everybody out, even though I feel like that would be the safest thing. But I know that I wouldn't. Like, I'm do as I say, not as I do kind of thing. Like, I get that. I don't think you're wrong at all for putting these boundaries down. This is your house, and if you don't want all these kids and all these people running around in various parts of your house, I think that's your right. Are there other people who are gonna think that that's ridiculous and that you should put the kids first? Yeah, I'm not one of those people. I don't have kids. I don't want kids. I would not want a bunch of children running around in my personal space all day, every day. That, to me, is a big boundary that I would have and I would not budge on. I would not want that. Like, that's the whole reason I don't have kids, because I don't want kids running around in my personal business all day. And let me tell you, I love my little nieces and nephews from all my best friends. and I love loving on them, and I love hugging on them, and I love spoiling them, and then I love giving them back. And the problem is when you have that many kids living in your area and they have free range of the house, there's not really a giving them back. And so I 100% agree with, like, if you don't want kids running around in your house, yeah, okay, they're not running around in your house. And you might every now and then allow them to come up and visit if you want. I could see that as being reasonable. Everyone having like a family dinner every now and then. Like, I think that would be nice. But I think setting the boundary that like when you need your space and you're saying like, okay, no, you don't have full range of my house and you can come up here when you're invited. But other than that, I need my space to be kid-free and not have all these people running around in it. I mean, that's what, 7 people during the day? That's a lot of people. So I'm going to go good apple on this one. I think there's going to be some people who don't agree, and that's okay. I think there are some people out there who genuinely believe that their children come before you and your needs, even in your own space. And I just don't agree with that. Other people's kids, they don't have to be your first priority and your concern. And some people might not like that, but you know, it is what it is. I will always stand by that other people's children are not my first priority. They're not. I'm my own person. I live my own life. I have my own things that I need to do. And I think that invalidating a whole person and their whole house because you have kids and you want to babysit someone else's kids, like that, what? Like, I'll never understand how that makes sense to some people. I don't get it. But oh my gosh, I got 4 good apples. We got a whole sweet apple pie for this episode. Oh, that's so sweet. Did you get the same as me? Did you get anything different? I would love to hear what you got down in the comments. And as always, just another reminder, if you want a chance for your story to be featured on Am I the Bad Apple, you can send it to my subreddit, r/AmITheBadApple. And for your well wishes today, okay, first off, it is National Epilepsy Awareness Day, so shout out to all of our friends who struggle with epilepsy. If you don't know what that is, this is a chance to educate yourself, become a little smarter than you were 5 minutes ago. Highly encourage taking a moment to learn about epilepsy and what it is, because there's a lot of people in this world that struggle with it, and that's tough. Oh, how funny. Purple background for Purple Day. And for those of you who do not struggle with epilepsy, we have something both for our health nuts and for our friends with sweet teeths. I don't know how you would say that. It is both National Nougat Day and National Spinach Day. So whatever side of the pendulum you are, if you like all the healthy things, if you like all the sugary things, go find you one of those this week. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you have a great rest of your day and hope to see y'all next week. Bye, my lovelies. Mwah.